Now, this summer, parts of South Africa have been experiencing excessive rain and hail, raising questions about the effects of climate change. Some people have even gone as far as suggesting that cloud seeding or artificial rain could be influencing weather patterns. So, what is cloud seeding, in fact, and is it something that's widely practiced in South Africa? So, let's get you some answers. We'll bring in Professor Midgley from the Stellenbosch University School of Climate Studies. Prof, a very good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. Before we get into cloud seeding, right, because there are some of our viewers talking about it, I want us to start off with some of the people are saying that it's climate change that's behind the excessive rainfall that we're seeing. Others certainly disagree. Which is it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a $1 million question, isn't it? I think that there's no question that there is no climate event occurring anywhere on the planet today that is not affected by climate change that we've caused as human beings. We've warmed the oceans to such an extent and the atmosphere to such an extent that every single weather event has got the fingerprint of climate change in it. But this fingerprint interacts with the regular patterns of climate, and what we're seeing this year is the effect of what's called a La Nina event, which means that in general, Southern Africa gets, in the summer rainfall region, above average rainfall. And so the combination of climate change plus the seasonal effect and the La Nina effect put together give us these extreme rainfall events.
So when you then speak about cloud seeding, because you do have some of our viewers who are taking it further to say that for them, this is something that is a concern. Is it common in South Africa, and what is it exactly?
Cloud seeding is the use of generally aircraft that fly above clouds and drop into the clouds certain compounds that cause nucleation of water droplets and thus cause rainfall. And it's ironic, actually, that South Africans think that we have an active cloud seeding program. We do not. We had an active cloud seeding program in the 1990s. In fact, South Africa was a world leader in cloud seeding in the 1990s, but we gave up on the technology and it was exported to the rest of the world. I think there's something like 30 countries around the world that do practice cloud seeding, including China, who used cloud seeding before the Olympic Games to clear the pollution out of their atmosphere. But we do not, as far as I'm aware, we do not use cloud seeding anymore in this part of the country and haven't done so for at least 2 decades. So I think this is a myth. Even if we were to use cloud seeding, it's very unlikely it would cause such widespread rainfall as we're seeing today.
And how much of the rising temperatures also, plays quite a role here in what we've seen?
Well, that's the engine of the change. You've put your finger on the driver. It's the increase in atmospheric greenhouse gases, which increase the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, increases the energy content of the atmosphere, and that is the engine of climate. And at this time of the year, when the sun is directly overhead the southern tropics, that is when we get all this influx of really high humidity into the country, and it can cause these extreme rainfall events. So that is, you've put your finger on the engine of climate change. It is excessive heat in the atmosphere that is causing, yeah, indeed.
And Prof, there's something that often worries me, right? Because we do get these warnings from authorities who say, be careful, there's this, take precautions. They've got, people on standby, disaster teams, etc. But it feels like it's more reactionary than it is proactive as far as dealing with this is concerned. Am I correct?
Well, I must agree with you to some extent. I think we have one of the better climate services in the world in South African Weather Services. But because of the huge focus on long-term climate change, and I'm not saying that that's unimportant, it's extremely important for us to understand climate change. But in a way, we've missed the boat in understanding better these sub-decadal, multi-year cycles like La Nina and El Nino. These are much more important for us here in Southern Africa in the short to medium term. And at the School for Climate Studies, we're really starting to focus on making important and useful projections that can save billions of rand if we could make them further in advance with a lot more confidence. And South Africa doesn't have a climate change research program, surprisingly.
Sure.
So this is, sorry, we don't have a climate research program. We've got a global change research program, but not a climate research program that is getting universities to work together to make better predictions with higher, with higher certainty. We should be setting ourselves these goals and start to accomplish them.
So, Prof, when you then listen to, different experts speaking as well as different groups talking about issues around climate change, there's a concern that they often raise even around infrastructure, because we've even seen this as a concern. Some even call for what they, say is weather resilient infrastructure. What would that look like at a practical level?
That's a really brilliant question, and it's something we have to understand very fast, and we're learning how to do it on the job, as we say. We're building the aeroplane as it's flying. For example, in towns, we have to expand the ability of towns to remove excess water off the streets into conduits and out towards the ocean more quickly to prevent flooding. For human health, we have to prepare for extreme heat events so that the particularly vulnerable are not at risk, the elderly and the very young. We know very precisely what can cause death due to excess heat. It's 33 to 34 degrees, and 100% humidity is a life-threatening condition. We can predict those with a high degree of certainty. In the area of agriculture and crop and food security, we can do an awful lot to increase the water holding capacity of soils. We can increase the capacity of our roads to cope more with the extreme rainfall events. There is a million things that we can do, and it all relates back to understanding and predicting these events further in advance so that we can make the adjustments more rapidly.
Prof, appreciate your time this evening. I think I should say, just set aside a week and come and spend a bit more time with you to understand a bit more around this subject, because there seems to be, as you say, quite a lot of things happening rapidly. But thank you so much for talking to us. Appreciate it. That's Professor Midgley there from the Stellenbosch University School of Climate Studies.